Hey guys, this is Blake Helfman. I'm here with Josh Merwin, River Oaks Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram. We are super excited about the partnership that Josh and I have put together. Houston International Sports Film Festival, River Oaks Chrysler Jeep Dodge is a premier sponsor. We're going to be offering discounts on cars. We're going to be giving away sports memorabilia, and we are so excited to partner with them. Tell us a little bit about the Sports Film Festival, Josh.
Yeah, so it's a one-of-a-kind sports film festival in Houston, June 3rd through 6th of 2021. We're not only going to have sports films that relate to life, we're going to have sports activities for kids to get them outside again.
Guys, we got the website below. Swipe up, swipe up, swipe up. Register right now for all the updates. It'll be coming up before you know it. Swipe up right now, and that website, Josh, is?
HISFF.org for Houston International Sports Film Festival.org.
Awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thanks. Hey, how you doing?
All right, how you doing?
Good. Nice to meet you somewhat in person.
It's the only way we can do it. Sorry,
I know.
Vegetables, you know.
Yep. Oh, no worries. I stopped and got Good Company barbecue on the way home from an errand, so I'm not going to lie. I did not eat the vegetables yet today.
I got triplets, brother. I got a lot going on, man.
I hear you. I've got 3.5-year-old twins. So I can't imagine. How old are your triplets?
17, so.
17, okay. Yeah. I don't know how you did it with triplets. I mean, 2 is hard enough.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. How many are they, boys and girls? What's the
2 boys and a girl.
2 boys and a girl? Awesome. Well, so the Minor League Mecca was actually the first film ever submitted to the film festival, which is pretty interesting for me because it got submitted at the same time The Last Dance was out, released on ESPN. So I got to see the backstory of Phil Jackson's coaching career through the Minor League Mecca at the same time that you're watching his not current career, but watching his career with Michael Jordan and then on with the Lakers. So I guess, you're originally from New York City. How did you get involved in sports and then basketball specifically?
Well, I was originally grew up in Upper West Side Manhattan. I just, I was a baseball player first. A lot of my friends. Good thing about New York, I had white, Spanish, black. I got all kind of friends, Italian. And that was the neat thing about growing up in New York.
Yep.
And I grew up around a lot of Spanish guys, so they like baseball. So that was sort of my first sport. Played baseball a lot. But my older brother, he was a basketball player. He was pretty good at it. So he sort of got me interested in playing basketball, and that's where it started.
So what age were you when you started playing basketball?
I say maybe eighth grade.
8th grade. Okay.
Not really, 8th, 9th grade when I really sort of got really into it.
So what streets were you on the Upper West Side?
Huh?
What area on the Upper West Side were you? Like what cross streets?
Amsterdam, 97 between Amsterdam and Columbus.
That's really funny. So I lived in New York City for 14 years. For 8 years, we lived on 99th and Broadway. Then we had the twins. We moved to 101st and Broadway. And then over the past year and a half, right before we moved back, we were on 90th and Columbus. I love that area.
Great area.
It's a great area. Yeah, and then we had our kids all set to go to one of the schools up there, and the pandemic hit, and we're kind of like, we got to get out of the city. Cool. So I guess were you talented at basketball from the first time you picked up a ball, or was it mainly partially because you had an older brother that was probably better that kind of egged you on?
Well, we just he got me started. Started liking it, started getting a little success at it. But we would play all the time. I mean, growing up in New York, if you know the New York City life,
yeah,
you'll take your starting 5 and go from park to park all over the city. So that's what me and my brother did. We had our little group of guys that we would go to different parks. And, if you lose, you ain't going to get back on the court. So
yeah,
you got to make sure you had a solid 5. And that's where I really learned, toughness and really how to fine-tune my game, how to play through physicality because, in the park it's physical. Ain't no blood, no foul. It's not soft like the NBA is right now today. But we would just go to different parks. We would play from sun up to sundown, and it was pretty neat. And we would not get off the court. I mean, we were in 7, 8 games. Then it started getting dark, and we had to shut it down.
Yeah.
Well, it was pretty neat. It was a great experience.
Yeah, it's amazing. I like to think of sports relating to life and kind of bringing people together. Um, were you attracted to the camaraderie for basketball kind of for those reasons too?
I just enjoyed the competition. The camaraderie comes with it. When you're on the team, and had some great teammates, but just really enjoyed the competition. Wanted to be the best, and I just remember, growing up, in 97th, in Amsterdam, and my neighbor, a good friend of mine, he's from Thailand. His name is Sam Pawatiotan, and he's a big-time Knick fan. So as a young guy, he used to take me to Knick games.
Oh, wow.
I was there watching Toby Knight, Marvin Webster, Ray Williams, Rory Sparrow, Pat Cummings, not really, really great Knick teams, but those dudes really competed. And that really, really got me interest. That really got my interest in the game. Watching those guys play, how big and physical they were, and I always wondered how I would fare out there if I ever made it.
Yeah, glad you got to find out.
Got to find out. Got to win at the Garden. Got to beat the Knicks twice, 2 out of my 3 championships. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we got to bring a couple home from Houston, so that's great for us. I may be wrong, but you started the Kiss of Death, correct?
I mean, it was just something me and Joe Klein were just having fun with. We blow kisses at each other throughout. Started in Game 5. So eventually, everybody knows I got the last one, the last and deadly one. So that's how that came about. And Kiss of Death. That's just a little fun game. Guys going at each other. So.
Well, but I think it goes back to, you being younger, the competition and the camaraderie of not just your teammates, but playing against other people and, trying to be the best. So do your kids play basketball at all?
Both my sons play. My daughter's a volleyball player. So my one son is a very good player, but it's tough with this pandemic, recruiting and,
yeah,
he plays in the competition level down here. Unless you play really AAU basketball, it's down in Houston. It's okay, but it's not. When I was growing up, you had like a Division I player in every team. Every night you played. North Carolina State, Connecticut, St. John's, Georgetown. Now it's hard to find like a good player, really, really, that catches your eye on a daily basis. You gotta. A lot of things are going on right now is all these players want to play together. So they build up these prep schools, all these top players in the city play together. And they basically go around the country playing sort of like a pseudo AAU type of setup. So it's just different right now. It's just different.
Yeah. How, I guess did your brother get introduced to basketball by one of your parents or family member?
No, just growing up in the city.
Okay.
My brother's not here with us right now. He passed away.
Sorry.
10 to 12 years ago, I'm thinking. His birthday just passed yesterday. But, he just had friends, growing up in the city.
Yeah.
In the city.
It's kind of what you do, right? Hang out in the park. And
you got
one thing everybody can do.
Man, so concrete jungle, they call it. So you just go to the park. It's across the street, pick up a basketball. You either play stick ball or you play basketball. So my brother decided to play basketball, had a lot of success in it, won a lot of tournaments. That was another good thing about New York City. We had great tournaments. I remember playing uptown. I played in the famous 155th. I played in front of 3,000 or 4,000 fans, in the summertime game. That was pretty amazing. Kids on fences and trees. You couldn't even see the baseline. There was so many people. You couldn't even see the baseline out of bounds. So I doubt if a lot of guys ever experienced playing like in a summer tournament in the summer, having that many people watching the game. So that was just part of the New York, experience, music going, guys on the microphone. It was just New York City was a great environment to grow up in as far as basketball.
Yeah, well, and culture too. That's, I think, hopefully one of the things that maybe the film festival can bring too. I guess that, leads into, one of the things I want to do is have sports activities for kids that are related to films that are in the film festival. So they get exposed to different sports. But is there anything you think we can do as a festival or to start a movement in Houston to get kids, I think, a little bit more outside active again I think a lot of kids are obviously playing a lot more video games than they did back in the day.
Well, Houston is doing pretty good. We have the sports down here. My kids grew up in Houston. I mean, we have baseball, we have football. I mean, my kids played everything. It was great down here, and the parents are great. They do a great job of getting involved in the sports. I've been an AAU coach for my son's team, so that's what I do. And that's part of it. Just keep it, like you said, keeping kids active, get them up out the video games, come out and, we have a lot of, I live in Memorial area, so they got a spring branch league for the kids where they play basketball. They got a spring branch baseball, football. So they really, the people in my neighborhood really, really keep their kids busy. In active sports, so.
My nephew's place.
My kids are 17. They lay up here for hours playing video games. I got to kick them out the house. So go for a run. Go to the gym. Get some shots up. Go do something else. That stuff really racks their brains. The video games and the phone. You take their phone away, it's like the end of the world. Dad, I need my phone. Mom, I grabbed my daughter's phone. She's about ready to fight me for a phone back. I'm like, Lord, so I'm with you guys. Let's get them out the house. Let's get some activities. Like I said, that video game, boy.
It's hard. Yeah. My nephew, I was staying with my sister at her house for a few days, and my nephew gets up at like 6 a.m. He's playing Fortnite. And then not only is he playing Fortnite, but he's got headphones on, so he can't hear himself. And then he's yelling at the top of his lungs, and I'm like, I'm trying to sleep, man.
Talking mess. I'm like,
For Hanukkah, my parents got him some kind of activity watch, not an Apple Watch, but it's for kids. So that he was literally running around the house the entire day. He got 30,000 steps, which was the maximum you could get on that watch. And then it reset, and he got like another 3,000. And I'm like, so maybe that's a way we can kind of integrate with something like that. Which is electronic, but it can inspire kids to kind of get more steps in and be more active. And then, ideally we can give some rewards based on that, like an autographed basketball or jersey or something. They
that's a good
kind
idea.
of, thanks. So I guess, so have you seen the film?
The Mecca film?
Yeah.
I've been trying to get it online. It's not letting me really download it. So
okay, I'll talk to Brendan. And so how did you, I guess, talk about kind of when did you first hear about the film and how were your approach about being in the film?
the CBA was good. It was a good, that's a historic. I was glad to be part of that history. Phil Jackson, George Carl, myself, Scotty Brooks. A lot of outstanding, great stories come from the CBA. A lot of people don't know about John Starks, Anthony Mason. Michael Adams, from Boston College. We all CBA guys. Guys take different routes, to reach their goal. And thank God for the CBA. And I was blessed to go to a historic franchise like the Patroons. And I was on the team that moved into that new Knickerbocker Arena.
Okay.
I was very excited about that. I'm like, wow, for a CBA team to get a big old place like this. And we had our best season ever. I think we were 50-6. I got called, maybe 4 or 5 of our guys got called up that year. And I never went back because the Warriors picked me up, and that started my NBA career. So I thank the CBA every day. George Carl, Terry Stotts was the assistant coach to George Carl. So
wow, it's been a pipeline. It was a pipeline. Then
you got Phil, you got George, you got Stotts. Coaching tree. Then you got all the players that came out of there. Myself, Askew, Steve Burke, a lot of guys who made it into the league from that team. So great history. Had a great year and a half up there. But I can take back the travel, brother. It was tough travel, getting up at 5 a.m, having to, take 2 planes just to get to your destination. And it wasn't glorious. I tell you that. It wasn't glorious.
At least you got to fly. That's the one thing when I was doing my film that I just timing-wise just never worked out was I wanted to go on a road trip in a bus in the minor leagues. Just film it, just to film it, to see the experience. And, but it just timing wise, it didn't work out. At least I guess you got to go on a plane.
I mean, it was dire straight. We stayed at bad hotels. We had guys on the team stealing tips off tables. I mean, we get $10 or $12. We got guys 6'8", 6'10". What is he gonna eat on a $10, $15 per diem? So
Yeah.
One place I always remember is Bob Evans. Boy, we used to live at Bob Evans. I know they got those in the Midwest, I think, in Wisconsin and Michigan, I think. So we used to eat there, boy, our pregame meal. But it was very humbling experience, I'll tell you that. It was very humbling. Hard travel, wasn't the best, luxury hotels, but that makes you hungry. That makes you want to get out of there even more. So a lot of guys made it out of there.
Well, and you're still playing basketball, so that, at least you get to eat at Bob Evans instead of having to work there.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Do you still play a little bit? Kind of what's your kind of fitness routine now? No?
7 years old, brother. I'm trying not to play. All I do is stand and shoot. That's it.
Yeah.
My body aches. My body aches. Got a lot of mileage on his body. So I let my sons and the younger kids play. So I enjoy watching and teaching, but I'll let the kids play.
So I don't know the timing. You were still playing, I assume, when they were born, right?
No, I was retired.
No, you were retired already?
Coaching. I was
You're
in my
coaching,
coaching
okay.
career,
Yeah.
When they were born, I was coaching, started coaching.
Okay. So was there ever a point where not obviously you'd have fun competitions with them, I assume, when they were kids? Was there ever a point where they beat you at horse or beat you playing on the court at all or not?
At that time, my kids were just into all kind of stuff. I started to enforce no basketball on them. I mean, me and my wife put them in everything, soccer. I mean, we were, we put them in everything. So we just wanted them to find the passion they wanted, so, and it ended up being basketball. My daughter ended up, she played softball, she played soccer, she played volleyball. She ended up enjoying volleyball. So it's been neat, so they just, picked them up themselves. And then all this AAU travel, me and my wife started doing it together separately, Then my sons were on 2 separate teams. So, It was crazy. I mean, we were all over Houston on a daily basis for practice, for games, going up to Dallas, going on the road, going to Vegas. So I'm glad all that's winding down now, finally. I mean, me and my wife put in a lot of miles with those 3 kids. I mean, been all over the country.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, we're about to start getting our kids into soccer. So we're just starting with
started,
that.
brother, But at this age, it's different problems. So you don't never escape it, brother. You don't never escape it.
Yeah.
Different problems.
Are you competitive off the basketball court? Like when you do family games or anything? Or was it just more basketball?
It was sort of just more basketball. I am a competitive person, but not like that.
Yeah.
When I step in between the lines, I take the game serious. It's work, man. Once you step on that court, it's about you and your team, and you're trying to beat the other team. And all the playoff games I've been through, I played 115 playoff games in my career. I mean, been against the wall. We've been down and being on part of the groups that were just so mentally tough. I mean, in '95, we had 5 elimination games in the first 2 rounds without having home court. And able to come out of that, against very good teams, I mean.
What's going through your head during that time?
I mean, you take it one game at a time. When you're down, you can't look forward until you handle what's present, what's at hand. That moment, so that game, that's all you can control. So we just had mentally tough guys, man, that we refused to lose and give in. So it was fun being a part of a group like that. Guys who were just mentally tough, who believed in each other when everybody else was against you. That really made us closer as a unit. And it showed. I mean, we bounced back. I mean, we go Karl Malone, Stockton first round, and Barkley, Kevin Johnson, Marley the second, and MVP, David Robinson. Dennis Rodman, Sean Elliott, then Shaq and Penny. I mean, if you look at the history books, they said that's the hardest road ever by a champion. Rightfully so. You know, we didn't have no home court. And we were the lowest seed to ever win a championship, a 6th seed. So that's another little nugget for NBA history. So we just had a tough group of guys led by an amazing talent who doesn't get talked about enough in Akeem Olajuwon. I mean, he did it on both ends of the floor. He just ain't do it on the offense end. He was elite at the defensive end also. So not a lot of guys are like that, you know. So he doesn't get the credit he deserves. But 90s basketball, the best basketball ever. Just a great time to play. Jordan, Barkley, Ewing. I mean, just talent every night, you know, having to play. And that's what the game was about. It's really about competition, you know. I mean, Dominique. I mean, you got Dominique one night. David Robinson, Barkley. I mean, then you got
that's so funny, your name. I mean, you know, because I haven't thought about it in a while, but it's like growing up, I was never good at basketball. I was just not good at basketball. I could never see the court, and I'd get the ball, somebody started running to me, I'd panic, I'd get rid of it. But you know, going back to video games too. But I remember being all those guys and you know, on a video game. You know, those players are my childhood. It's amazing.
It is. I mean, and idolized some guy. Magic was one of my favorites, and I'm guarding Magic in the second round of the freaking playoffs. My first year in the league with Golden State.
What is that like?
I mean, it's amazing, you know, but this is what I wanted. This is what I dreamed about, and I played great that series. You know, I had 21 the first game, and I hit the game-winning free throws the second game, the only game we won in the series, and I ended up playing pretty good the rest of the series. But going against Magic, James Worthy, Byron Scott, you know, watching them play against Bird and them back in the 80s, it was just an amazing time for basketball. Those two guys, Bird and Magic, really saved basketball. That is the truth.
Yeah.
As great as both those guys was, I mean, they were just – you see both those teams, man, just stacked with Hall of Famers. I mean, Parrish, Bird, and McHale in the front line. Ainge at 6'8", Dennis Johnson at 6'3", Magic at 6'9", Scott at 6'5", Worthy at 6'10", Kareem at 7'2", AC Green, Kurt Rambis at 6'10". Those were the good old days, man. That's good basketball right there. Physical, nobody backing down. They win one year. LA wins the next year. Bird comes back and Magic comes back. Come on, man. That was just amazing time.
Do you watch any of those old games?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. And I'm on the internet, YouTube. I watch our old games. I watch Magic. You know, I loved Isaiah and Dumars, the Bad Boys. They were a great team.
Are you looking for something when you watch it, or you're just trying to relive the moments a little bit and just kind of
like watching old school basketball. That's the basketball I appreciate. Not a big man, a 7-foot out spotting at the 3-point line, shooting jump shots. You know, you got 4 guards and 1 big now. You know, I just mentioned, look at that front line, 6'9", 6'11", 7 foot. Now the front line is 6'3", 6'7", and 6'10". That's an NBA front line right now. And I'm like, you know, I like watching it. Great athletes out there, but Kevin Durant couldn't play 4 back in our day. He barely can play the 3. You got Larry Bird, Dominique Wilkins, James Worthy, all 3 men. And Kevin Durant's a 3. As skilled as he is, I just worry about the physicality. LeBron got the body to take it, you know.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant definitely got the skill, but I wonder if his body would last against those 3 guys, you know. But
well, or would he work out and have a different body if that was the style of the game too?
You know, and the game is different now, so it's hard to judge. You know, can't touch nobody. You know, guys getting to the line 20 times. I mean, guys flopping on the 3-point line so they can get 3 free throws. Come on, man, just play ball. Stop all that nonsense. Let's play ball. Line them up, lace them up.
I like it. Rough and rugged.
No, I'm just saying line them up, lace them up, and play hoop. That's it.
Yep.
All that flopping, you know. So, but it is what it is, you know. So, it's evolving. So,
yeah. So, what do you think you would have done if you didn't play basketball professionally? Have you ever thought about it or not really?
That's a great question. I enjoy working with kids. You know, that's what my brother did. No, I've probably been working with kids, being a counselor or something like that.
Cool.
Just growing up in New York, seeing a lot of bad things going on with kids. Growing up in the city,
Yeah.
I was blessed that I had my mom and dad work, but a lot of my friends lived in the projects, didn't have the opportunities I had. Growing up a single parent home, there's no dad at home. They hanging out. I'm like hanging out all times of the night. My dad ruled our house with an iron fist, rightfully so. You need to be home. If you are half a second late, old school dads, they put them hands on you. So they're like,
yeah,
you late? It's a different era right now. We don't do that. We'll get locked up.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed that upbringing, but just seeing a lot of my friends go through a lot of those tough times, and
Yeah,
I wanted
for sure.
to help. And that's why I love my brother. He was a counselor at Douglas, Community Center. He's been there almost 30 years till he passed away. And he was loved up there. The neighborhood loved him because he gave back to the kids. Yeah, he looked out for the kids. He helped a lot of kids get to college, do well, get out of tough situations. When you grow up hard and feel you have a way out, you need a mentor, to guide you, to help you. I was mentioning to you earlier, a lot of single parent homes. So my brother was sort of a father figure to a lot of these kids, and to see them turn out great, and when he passed away, to see them come, grieve with my family, that was pretty neat. That's a great impact he left, and that's what if I could play hoop, that's sort of probably what I wanted to do too, to help out my neighborhood. I'm a Haitian. My mom and dad came from Haiti. If you know the story of Haiti, it's one of the poorest countries in the world. Nobody ever comes help us. I would go over there to talk to people. People are depressed because it's bad over there. It's very frustrating, that they can't get the help they need over there. But that's where I come from. That's the spirit I have.
How old were your parents when they moved here?
My mom came here first. Then my dad, it took him a couple of years to get over. So
they were already married at the time?
Yes. So my brother was born over there. Me and my sister were born here. So, but it was tough for them. My mom helped a lot of our people get over here from Haiti, at the time. So, she's a big matriarch of, the Haitian people in New York City. A lot of my aunts and uncles. A reason they're here is because of my mom. Help get them over here. So it's a great story.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Yeah, and I think one of the things that sports has done is giving kids from the backgrounds that you were describing, giving them kind of a reason and a way to stay out of trouble with that structure, and then obviously having something to do that's productive as opposed to trying to kill time and getting in trouble.
Exactly.
And then I think so. Do you go back to not right now during the pandemic, but do you go back fairly often, or?
I try to go back as much as I can, and it just emotionally drains me when I come home.
Yeah.
I see, I took my last time I've been there, been a couple of years. I took my neighbor's son, a friend of mine's son, and my kids over there, and we drove. We had to drive when we landed there. We had to drive to the other side of the island, maybe 3-4 hours. Just potholes, just poverty, it was depressing. Where I stayed, the electricity would turn off. No AC. I mean, the living conditions were awful. Kids playing in garbage and dirt. I mean, it's just a bad situation over there. But wanted the kids to see, to be thankful where they're from. And they fit right in. They didn't complain about anything, the kids. They just fit right on in. They understood the situation, and they were very thankful for what they had. So it was good. They understood what they were over there for, is to learn what America brings you.
Yeah.
Not everybody's living like you, so you need to appreciate what you have. So it was a good trip for them. They really understood. They're like, wow, it was powerful. Watching them interact with kids with no shoes, dirty. You don't know if they have a disease, but our kids were just hugging the kids, interacting with the kids. The kids were excited to see them. They were glad they were there to hang out with them. So it was good. It was a good moment.
Did the kids know who you were, or you just?
I mean, they had an idea. They were so young.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember going there in '99 when I was with the Spurs after we won the championship. And I was helping a friend of mine who does a lot over there. His name is Robert Duval. So I was helping putting in a new court, you know, and he runs like a little clinic for boys. You know, boys walk 3 or 4 miles just to get one meal. You know, this guy provides meals and sort of gear for the kids so they can play, you know. So you got kids coming from all over Haiti. This is the only
So it's meals and then also a basketball clinic?
It's sort of a clinic where kids can come play, you know. So I was giving out posters to the younger kids, and it was sad when I was leaving. The big kids were beating up the little kids and just taking their posters. You know, that's all they know. You know, I want to take. You know, I'm poor, so it's just a sad situation over there. You know, it's just tough. You know, and I'm Haitian. I'm proud of it. You know, but that burns deep inside of me. The poverty.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I'll keep that in the back of my mind, and you do as well too, because I think one of the things that once we get this festival launched and going and growing is, you know, I'd love to partner with people, you know, that have either a foundation or a cause they're passionate about. You know, especially with the interview series, athletes and actors that we're interviewing. You know, as we start doing fundraising for the film festival, you know, take a percentage of that money and give it back into those communities. Because I think it's important for us to do. I think, you know, long term, obviously I want the Houston International Sports Film Festival to grow as a brand, you know, and then also do these weekly interviews and give athletes a platform to talk about things they're passionate about. I think that's one of the, you know, biggest differences over the past 10 years is athletes being thought of more as people instead of just an athlete on the court or on the field. You know, and having a voice and using their voice, you know, in a positive way. So, you know, if we can help out in any way, you know, definitely let us know. And, you know, we're also looking to help out, you know, younger kids that, with film production, we're going to do racial equality programming through this film festival, with historical athlete activists, because they really, Muhammad Ali, Arthur Ashe, Billie Jean King, they really set the ground for what the athletes are doing today. Some of the films I've been watching about Kareem have been pretty amazing too. I mean, his intelligence level. I mean, yeah.
Power Memorial, baby. Kareem, the only jersey hung up in that high school, number 33, Luau Center. Went to the same high school as that guy.
Oh, you went to the same high school?
Power Memorial, yeah. Kareem,
yeah, wow.
baby. Luau Center.
Yeah, I was watching the Bruce Lee documentary. Just talking about their relationship.
Kareem's a deep cat, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, people don't talk about it. He got 6 rings, 5 MVPs. He's the #1 leading scorer. And it kills me they don't talk about being in the conversation of being the greatest ever. Drives me crazy. He has the most unstoppable shot ever. Nobody ever mastered that. Nobody can ever master that shot. The sky hook. Unstoppable shot. Unstoppable.
Yeah, well, yeah, I definitely want to reach out and try and interview him. About that, and then also, yeah. Well, it's interesting too. I mean, you know, there've been some athletes over the past, you know, 4 months that have, you know, made some not positive comments about the Jewish community, just ill-informed comments. And I'm Jewish, and I think, you know, growing up, I was always taught that, you know, you need to help other communities that are down, and I need to ask my dad, who kind of ingrained this, if it was him or my grandfather, you know, because what I was taught is, you know, bring the Jewish community and the Black communities together, to help each other. And so that's one of the things that I'm going to try and do at the festival, especially the first year. There's some films that we're programming we're going to do at the Holocaust Museum of Houston, and they have expanded for years to focus not just on Jewish causes. They have a Nelson Mandela exhibit open right now. Unfortunately, not as many people are seeing it because of the pandemic. You know, we're looking at doing some programming with them, and an African American Culture Museum. too. And I think there's a way to kind of bring some of these communities together to help each other.
That would be great. I've been to South Africa with the NBA. I've been to the apartheid museum, man. I about cried. That was a hard walk around a museum, boy.
I'm sure.
Guys were treated down there, and the great Nelson Mandela. That's a great name you mentioned. Glad he eventually got out. I mean, it was amazing to go down there to Johannesburg. It was interesting to be there.
Yeah, I've not. So I've been to Johannesburg and Cape Town several times. We did not go to the prison, but on another trip we'll have to do that. Yeah, it's a great country, but it's it's got a very deep and dark history.
Yes, it does.
It
was funny. Over there. They were only free 6 years. They just got. I think 1994 is when the country was finally free, and we were there at 2000, 2001. It was just only a couple of years before they were free out there. So I was like, "Woo!" I said, "You sure we want to go out here?"
Yeah.
Great. I had a great time. It was just an amazing experience. Going to these little towns. It's the same as Haiti. Just like that. I mean, the AIDS, the kids getting raped, the girls getting raped all the time. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you walk, but you're driving on the highway, and the shanty towns, and it's, there's no electricity. It's
nothing.
But that's one of the power sports too, is you guys can go there and uplift them. You just give it, even if just a little moment of happiness for them, and kind of an escape from what they're dealing with.
The problem is with them, they see us come, they like all of, but they want it consistently,
Yeah.
They
need it consistent. Yeah. It's, it's like, how do you make a difference long-term and kind of over the long term?
They see us come every year. They know we donate some money, we bring some clothes, but that's a short-term solution. They need that all the time, consistently. Yeah. It's just hard, but I give the NBA credit. NBA helped built a lot of stuff down there, some schools, but it's just hard. It's a long way away. I mean, that's a long flight.
Yeah. It was also funny is whenever I think about it, I think about Danny Glover and Lethal Weapon too, when he was at the South African consul, and he's like, "Free South Africa."
Exactly.
I think we covered a lot of great things. I think talking about going over, long-term help, and I'm hoping that we can, not just the film festival, but figure out how to help the impoverished communities in Houston on a more long-term basis. I know a lot of people are talking about racial equality, and we're doing programming that'll continue that conversation. But I also think a big topic coming up is racial equity too, and how do you give back to not just help people in the moment, but over a long-term period, and kind of raise them up. So
challenge.
generationally, you help one, and the real estate, it's not impact zones, it's opportunity zones that a lot of builders are coming in and they get tax credits, and what if, and then also with college tuition, it's like, what if we can kind of have some of these banks put some funds to the side from the money that they get from home loans, and if there's a kid that is the first time college graduate, give them a little bit of stock or equity in whatever their first home is, whatever they're buying, help them out, so it's easier for them. And then, because once you get into real estate, then most of the time the value goes up, and so when you're looking to move to a new house, you've got that initial equity, so things like that are kind of outside the box that hopefully we can get some Houston leaders behind. And the other major push would be, and the Houston Food Bank is incredible. I think they're one of the most successful food banks in the country.
Sure,
But I think that one of the issues we're seeing with medical costs in the Black community, especially in access to medical care, we need to increase that. But I think nutritionally and what people have access to in terms of food getting people healthier food options, I think would make a big difference in the long run too.
Yeah. All good ideas, but boy, oh boy,
It's
it's always the sustainability is the problem. But
yeah,
that's been the issue, man. That's been the issue for a lot of years.
yeah,
All over the country, not just Houston.
right, yeah.
Compton, Harlem, New York. I mean, Atlanta. I mean, we're suffering all over the place. So,
Well, I mean, I think,
somewhere,
yeah, I mean, I think one of the most amazing athletes, you know, currently. I mean, LeBron James is just incredible. Not just as an athlete. I mean, he built a school. Like you can't. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's been able to do. And hopefully he can expand on that. And it's just incredible.
Like Drew Holiday. I mean, he gives a lot of money. He's gonna give his whole salary to black businesses.
I saw that. Yeah.
Black businesses. I mean, this dude gets millions of dollars of his money, but he don't ask for no praise. I mean, I like guys like that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Mario, thanks for I'd love to keep in touch with you, if that's okay. And kind of as we kind of grow this, if you and your wife want to get involved at all, or, let me know. If there are any other athletes either in Houston or around that you think, I should talk to, just kind of about their story and kind of relation to sports.
The Whit Merciless Foundation. Whitley Merciless is a good guy.
I would love to talk. Yeah, I would love to talk to him. Good luck getting the kids through school this year.
It's been a struggle, man. Games getting canceled left and right. It's been tough, man.
Cool. Well, yeah, and that'll keep you in mind too. If we want to do any basketball clinics with younger kids, and you have any interest, I'll reach out kind of as we get closer.
Let me know, brother. I'm always around, man.
Great. Thank you so much.
We'll keep in touch. All right.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Take care, buddy.